The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
Welcome to St. Louis Cardinal baseball from Busch Stadium. The Florida Marlins and the Cardinals, Game 4 of the series here on a Thursday afternoon in the Gateway City. Cardinals have dropped 2 of the first 3 games of this series. All games have been decided late, and if the Cardinals are going to even the series, Al Raboski, they're going to have to do it against a pretty tough customer.
Absolutely. The National League Pitcher of the Month is Josh Johnson. Look at that ERA. 0.88. He's only allowed 18 hits in 41 innings. He's on top of his game.
Johnson for the Marlins. For the Cardinals, it'll be Jake Westbrook, the right-hander. We'll look at him when we come back. To signing autographs before the game here this afternoon. The Cardinals trying to even the series with the Florida Marlins. If they do it, they'll do it behind Jake Westbrook.
Jake Westbrook has a tremendous sinker. He has the ability to induce ground balls, and he leads the National League in that department. He's been pitching much better of late.
It'll be Westbrook and Josh Johnson. But before that, we'll take a look at nicknames in the game of baseball. You're not going to want to miss this when we come back. To Busch Stadium, nicknames have been an important part of the game of baseball over the years. Our Jim Hayes has more.
By 2006, Lance Berkman was one of baseball's best power hitters. He was a three-time All-Star who led the Astros past the Cardinals for their first ever NL pennant. During a radio interview before the '06 season, Berkman said he didn't like the nickname Fat Elvis, even though he admitted to once eating a Twinkie thrown at him by a fan during a game. Lance said he was agile and athletic, like a puma, and the nickname Big Puma stuck. Here at Fox Sports Midwest, Berkman's nickname leads us to look back at some of the other great nicknames in baseball's history. Along with the Big Puma, there is currently the Big Donkey, Big Poppy, and last year the Cardinals had Big Sweat. There was the Big Hurt, Big Daddy, the Big Train, the Big Unit, Big Poison, and there were two Big Cats. There are cat nicknames like Kitty or just plain Cat, and there are dogs like Wonder Dog, Bulldog, Crime Dog, and the O-Dog. Animals abound. We have Kung Fu Panda and El Caballo. Other favorites include Goose, Ducky, Hawk, Rhino, Baby Bull, Iron Horse, Catfish, Rat, and White Rat. Some nicknames describe a player's personality, like Sparky, The Lip, Iron Man, Cool Papa Bell, Spaceman, and of course, the Mad Hungarian. Then there was Sweet Lou, which never made any sense. And there were players with nicknames that made you hungry, like Cakes, Chili, the Georgia Peach, and of course, Big Mac. And some nicknames describe a hitter, like Hammerin' Hank, the Splendid Splinter, and the Sultan of SWAT. Other nicknames describe pitchers, like the Rocket, Wild Thing, and of course, the Freak. Nicknames have described infielders, like the Zamboni, Hoover, and the Wizard. Some nicknames referenced a player's style, like Joltin' Joe, Charlie Hustle, and even Bonehead for poor Fred Merkle. And some nicknames became first names, like Duke, Oil Can, and Chipper. Or in the case of the Cardinals, Skip, Dizzy, and Red. Some nicknames describe a player at his best, like Mr. October. And then there is the franchise nickname, like Mr. Cub. And while Big Puma is one of the best nicknames going, you can't beat Donnie Baseball or Teddy Ballgame. And of course, the best nickname of them all, the Man.
In the air, deep right field. At the track, at the wall, and it's gone. Descalso. Ground ball to short. Out at second. And out at first. 8-7. The Florida Marlins hold on for the win.
It's been an up and down series for the Cardinals. Today they go for the series split against one of the best in the business, Josh Johnson. It's next on Fox Sports Midwest. On Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Beautiful afternoon here in downtown St. Louis. Final game of a 4-game series with the Florida Marlins. Cardinals hoping to even the series here this afternoon. Warmed up a bit. Here is the Southwest Airlines batting order for the visiting Marlins. Coghlan, Bonifacio, and Ramirez are 1, 2, 3. Gabby Sanchez and Mike Stanton have done a lot of damage in the middle of the lineup. Then Dobbs, Buck, Infante, and Josh Johnson. And that's the lineup that Jake Westbrook will see here this afternoon.
Still a high ERA, but the numbers are coming down. 2-2 on the season. Far too many walks. And he is starting now to get the ground balls. He has the highest ground ball percentage in the National League.
Just 2 earned runs in his last 2 games. Seems to be getting it figured out, and we'll see if the defense behind him does help. This is our Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's Cardinals defense. Craig Rasmus Berkman in the outfield. Descalso getting the start at third. Terrio, Punto, and Pujols on the infield. And Gerald Laird behind the plate this afternoon. Cardinals defense has struggled a bit in the early going. Maybe that's an understatement. They lead all of the National League in errors. And we've seen some shabby play in this series, and we'll see if we can have a more crisp game here this afternoon.
Cardinals need to win this one to split the 4-game series.
And they've got a tough one in Mr. Johnson.
Absolutely, but this is the big leagues. Everybody's pretty good.
Matt Holliday is the left fielder. We had wrong name on our graphic. He's out there where he belongs. Good start for Likes to work quickly, especially when things are going well. The 0-2 pitch is fouled off.
Always send a positive message to your teammates that you want to get the ball, you want to throw it, you're in command, and you really like to have the hitter adjust to your timing. See right there, Coghlan trying to call time, just trying to make sure that it's not a quick pitch or that he gets comfortable.
After missing away, right back on the mound, ready to go. 1-2 to Coghlan. Beautiful afternoon here at the ballpark. We've had chilly weather first few games of this series. Very, very pleasant afternoon.
I would imagine if you're in the sun, it's quite comfortable. And hopefully this game will not last like the last couple night games that have been played at a very slow pace.
Slow pace. Not played very well.
Which is conducive to, you know, not a clean play.
Good start for Jake Westbrook. He fans Chris Coghlan, and he goes up the ladder with him.
Well, that's it. If you throw a lot of pitches down, then you get a ball up around the eyes. It's hard for that hitter to lay off it, and it's even harder to put it in play.
Emilio Bonifacio is the left fielder for Florida, and he had an interesting night here last night. 3 hits, triple, a couple of base hits. He also made an error defensively, made a bad throw, was a part of the play at the plate. He basically was a highlight film all in himself last night.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
Ground ball, this could be a tough play. You better hurry. And they got him at first base. Nice play by Punto. I wasn't sure he'd have a chance to get the very speedy Bonifacio.
And it really was a nice play, even with the difficulty of maybe a little split. For a second there, he has trouble with the exchange. Right there, reaches in second time. You have no time with Bonifacio's speed going down the line. So you have to rush it. And Punto, excellent fielder. It's fun to watch him play, and he's still trying to play himself into shape after the sports hernia surgery cost him all spring.
Hanley Ramirez batting just 198. Hard to believe. Marlins in some ways offensively mirroring the St. Louis Cardinals. The star player not off to a good start, although Albert's power numbers are there. Ramirez doesn't even have his normal power number.
No, he hit a home run Sunday before they came into St. Louis, and the oddity to that was it was the first home run he hit all year. Never even hit one in spring training.
The 0-2 misses away.
And you're talking about a shortstop that leads the National League shortstops in home runs in the last several years. Since 06, he's hit 124 home runs to lead all National League shortstops.
Very gifted athlete.
Assuming more of a leadership role, and he's really being tested as he's off to a very slow start.
2-2 just misses.
But you want to keep on throwing the ball right down there. More times than not, you're going to get these hitters to swing at it, and if they hit it, they're going to pound it in the ground.
And it's grounded to the right side. One hop. Punto up from his knees, throws out Ramirez. Good defensive inning for the Cardinals, and particularly Nick Punto. No score, bottom of the first. celebrating Cinco de Mayo at the ballpark. No score, bottom of the first inning. We'll take a look at the Cardinals batting order, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Terrio, Rasmussen, Pujols will hit 1, 2, 3. Followed by Matt Holliday and Lance Berkman, 1-2 in the National League in batting. Gerald Laird behind the plate. Nick Punto will hit 7th. Daniel Descalzo's had a nice series. He bats 8th, and then Jake Westbrook, the pitcher, against one of the game's best, Josh Johnson.
No doubt about it. He is 6'7", 248 from Tulsa, Oklahoma. The April Pitcher of the Month in the National League. His last time out, he did not have very good stuff and still went 7 shutout innings.
Must be nice.
And Ricky, it was the first time all season that he allowed a base hit to a hitter in the first 3 innings.
Well, it's incredible what he's done in the early going, and as Mark McGuire said in the pregame show, he loves his fastball, and he's got a very good one.
Well, he's only allowed 18 base hits in 41 innings.
And he's carried no hitters into the 6th inning 3 times. Once against Colorado, where he gave up his first hit in the bottom of the 6th. And then against the Mets in the 7th, Atlanta Braves in the 8th. That's pretty impressive in the early going to have 3 games like that. And he's just at times unhittable.
Well, he's always had a very good fastball. And he got himself in very good shape after coming back from Tommy John surgery. And now he's starting to understand that, okay, fastballs are great, but you have to have secondary pitches. And he started concentrating much more on his breaking ball and also his changeup to go along with that fastball that he really pounds the strike zone with.
We've seen the slider already to Terrio in this at-bat. Full count. Fouled the first one off and ready for the second full count delivery. And a swing and a miss. He strikes out the Cardinal leadoff batter, Ryan Terrio. Terrio has not struck out very much this year. He's been very good in that leadoff role.
And just look at that, down at the bottom of the zone and just pound him on the 3-2 pitch. Great confidence in his physical ability. You know, last season he didn't have a lot of decisions, only 11 wins, but he was one of the top candidates for the Cy Young. And then he ended up missing the last 3 weeks with shoulder and back problems, and that really took him out of contention. But he was the ERA champion.
Colby Rasmus at 294 can hit the fastball. And a little bloop to center field. Base hit for Rasmus. First base runner of the game. Marlins defense has been very good this year. Bonifacio, Coughlin, Stanton in the outfield. Infante and Ramirez up the middle. Gabby Sanchez and Dobbs at the corner. John Buck is the catcher and Josh Johnson on the mound. Marlins really in the middle of the pack defensively in the National League, but the Cardinals towards the bottom. Very unusual to say that about a Cardinal team. Albert Pujols batting .233. That's also unusual to say.
Traditionally, the Cardinals are built on defense and speed and pitching.
There's a line drive to left field. Might get down, and it does. It's in the gap. Bonifacio runs it down. Rasmus headed for third. 1-out single for Albert Pujols. Puts runners at the corner here in the first. Good start for the Redbirds.
As I mentioned, coming in this season, he had only allowed 1 base runner, 1 hit allowed in the first 3 innings. So already the Cardinals have 2 hits here. I felt that yesterday that Albert was starting to get closer as he walked a few times. Here Kobe sees the ball, gets down, glides over to third base. Great scoring opportunity right here. Put the pressure on Johnson and the Fish right now.
It was a well-timed swing by Albert, wasn't it? He just seemed like he had more balance, and as you said, he's been getting very, very close.
It just seemed like, you know, last night he walked a few times. He's seen the ball a little bit better. That's a beginning.
Holiday is seeing the ball well. There's a line drive, base hit up the middle, and the Cardinals are going to take the lead. Albert's trying for third. The throw there, and he is out at third base. Matt Holliday delivers
here in the first.
Not only are we not playing good, sound, fundamental defense, but we still have some problems running. Now, Albert's going to make mistakes. There's that sinking fastball. He's strong enough. He fights it off. And Conklin throws across his body. Strike right there. Worried about Albert hurting an ankle with the awkward slide. And Albert will make mistakes being aggressive. That's a lot easier than laying back. But still, you've got to be, you've got to just, stay in scoring position. Don't push the envelope. I'm the first one to say I want to be aggressive, but there are times where you just don't want to run into an out.
Especially against a pitcher like this.
Right.
That's the first run that Josh Johnson has allowed on the road all season. Like to get him early and often if you can.
Well, that's it. I mean, a guy like Johnson, you may only have 1 or 2 shots at him. So do not run into an out when you have a man already in scoring position.
2 outs for the Cardinals, and Lance Berkman at .390, 9 homers, 28 RBIs. Second in the league in batting, second in RBIs. And he's up among the league leaders in runs scored as well.
Throwing 94 consistently and be able to spot that pitch. Now, he can top out around 98, but he's a much better pitcher with command at 94.
Holiday, the runner at first. Swing and a miss. There's a good fastball in on the hands of Berkman to even the count at 2.
Mark McGuire talked about, you can see the philosophy for the Cardinal hitters. Go up there looking for that first fastball and be ready for it. A lot of times the pitcher was trying to establish that fastball, particularly early in a game, especially the first inning. So really be ready for it.
Both Rasmus and Pujols first ball hitting.
Now you see an 89-mile-an-hour slider that elevated above the hands of a left-handed hitter, just tying them up.
3-2. Holiday will be moving on the pitch. And here it is. Fouled back. Mentioned the run scored, Al, that Berkman has. He's just been great on the bases, been great in so many ways in the clubhouse. But the Cardinals have 4 of the top 6 in the National League in terms of runs scored. There's a look at Johnson's split. Home game and road game. But that's how good the Cardinals offense has been, that you've got 4 of the top 6 in the league in runs scored. And that's Rasmus, Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman hitting 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this lineup.
They lead the National League in offense and in many categories. They've now scored 169 runs.
3-2 is ball 4, and Lance Berkman walks. And not a simple inning for Josh Johnson. Gerald Laird, who's done a great job behind the plate, filling in for Yadier Molina. Rough night for Molina last night. He made a couple of errors, very uncharacteristic of him. Did have a hit in 4 at-bats, but nice to get an off day game after a night game for Molina.
We talk so much about the new personalities of Berkman and Terrio. Well, Gerald Laird really fits that bill too. He is a very funny guy.
Right.
He fits into this clubhouse in a very good way. And he's done a real nice job. This would be his 8th start. The ball club is 6-1 when he starts, and he has a catcher's ERA of 3.14.
You always seem to draw the pitchers like Josh Johnson in your 1 start a week, though, don't you?
And the oddity is, of all the Cardinal hitters, the guy that's had the most success against Josh Johnson is Molina. But, with the night game last night, it made sense to have Gerald Laird, fresh legs, catch this one. And hopefully, Gerald Laird can continue to contribute.
Two runners on for the Cardinals. Bottom of the first inning, 1-0. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on that pitch on the outside half, and Laird is in the hole against Johnson. Set and the 1-2. Popped into right field. This could be a tough play, but Stanton comes on and makes the play. And the Cardinal first is over. RBI single by Matt Holliday, 1-0 Cardinals. Fox Sports Midwest and the Mission Continues are joining together for a series of community service projects. U.S. military veterans will provide the leadership needed to renovate ball fields, improve senior centers, and provide services for kids. Our first project is May 24th, when we'll renovate the Able Senior Citizen Center in Rolla, Missouri, with a Cardinals game lounge and other improvements. Learn more at missioncontinues.org. Matt Holliday's RBI single has given the Cardinals a lead. That's his 22nd RBI of the season. Jake Westbrook back out for the second inning. And strike one to Gabby Sanchez. Sanchez has been very difficult on Cardinal pitching. He is red hot.
Very nice series. Had a career high with 4 hits. One game of the series. Hit a grand slam and another.
Sanchez and Stanton together batting .448 in this series with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs, but not a good at-bat there. And a good start to the second for Jake Westbrook. We'll take a look at our Toyota keys to the game, and this is what each pitcher has done against the opponents. Josh Johnson, 1-1 in his career against the Cardinals with a low ERA, although he has a low ERA out against everybody.
And actually, Westbrook had a better ERA against the Marlins than Johnson against the Cardinals. Good start for Wes. On strikes, isn't he? Painting the corners.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Ground ball to short. Tough play. Diving play by Terrio. Pops up. Throws him out. The Cardinal defense has not been very good in this series, but very nice play by the Cardinal shortstop going to his left.
Terrio's got a bunch of errors, but he's one of those scrappy players by design. They just said, we'll sacrifice a little defense for the increased offense, and he is not disappointed. All you have to do is make the routine plays, and occasionally you make a little bit better one.
Greg Dobbs, third baseman, takes strike one. Another first pitch strike from Westbrook. And so far, 3 ground balls and 2 strikeouts.
Remember early in the season, you just wasn't throwing strikes.
And he's thrown a first pitch strike to the first 6 hitters. Got them all out. Nice job, Jake Westbrook. On to the bottom of the second. Next Family Sunday is May 8th when the Cards host the Brewers. All fans purchasing a regular priced terrace level seat will receive a free Hunter hot dog and a Coca-Cola. Get your Sunday tickets today at Cardinals.com. There's a young man not exactly enjoying his family day at the ballpark yet. I guess he wanted more runs in the first inning. Come back, kid, come back. First pitch swinging is Nick Punto, and the Cardinals have another runner aboard. Good start against Josh Johnson.
You can tell they're going up there looking for the first pitch that they can drive. Just up, out over the plate, that pitch. And Johnson, you know, is just going out there saying, I'm going to throw strikes. He gives up very few hits, so why would you assume that they're going to get base hits? But already the Cardinals with 4.
Daniel Descalso takes strike 1. Descalso filling in, playing some time at second, getting some time at third. David Freese is injured, and the Cardinals are having to find a replacement for him, and Descalso has been one of the options along with Alan Craig.
Daniel's really shown that he can handle the glove, and that is a real plus. I think the only player that really is probably capable of doing anything close to Freese would be Alan Craig, who we've seen play a couple times. But it's an opportunity for somebody here, and Daniels made the most of it. Big jolt the other night, hits a 3-run home run, ended up being the game winner.
Tight shot of his bat. You can tell when the hitter gets that ball right on the sweet spot. They try to make sure they rub it off if they hit it off the end or on the handle. Don't let that leave a mark. Trying to hit it right in the sweet spot of that bat.
You look at good hitters, and they will have that impression where the ball made contact will be in just a small area, but what they call the sweet part of the bat.
Maybe hit it on the end or on the handle. That's the one where you're feeling the bees in your hand. Not that that ever happened to you, Al. You were such a good hitter.
I was a good hitter, but it happened.
I know you were. I wasn't being sarcastic. I like it when you agree with me. Punto the runner at first. 2-1 the count on Descalzo. Strike on the outside corner. 2-2. Fairly shallow in the outfield for Descalzo. Despite that home run he hit here in game 2.
Well, he's a line drive hitter. And that ball was a line drive that just went out for his first major league home run.
2-2, swing and a miss, and John Buck had thoughts of trying to pick off Nick Punto.
Good pitch there. Up above the hands to a left-handed hitter. Really can't get much of a swing on it.
And he was a little bit tardy.
A little tardy.
Jake Westbrook at 154 does have a couple of hits and an RBI, and he'll be bunting here. And where's he trying to bunt this ball out?
You know, I mean, you can bunt it any place. It's not like a situation where you have to bunt it down the third baseline. You just get it down and deaden it. Get it far enough away that the catcher has to, you know, take several steps up there. They can converge and charge at the corners and even back of the pitcher. As long as you deaden it halfway, the runner, it should be a successful bunt attempt.
He missed the first pitch. Squaring again, and he deadens that one in front of the pitcher Johnson perfectly and gets the job done.
As a prime example, I mean, he bunts it right back towards the pitcher, but he deadened it enough to where the catcher couldn't get it. The pitcher has to come in. Significant time elapses, allowing the runner to get to second base. Good job. Barrel heavy, higher, and he drops it, but you see that he just catches the ball. And then you have soft hands, so when it makes contact, you just let the bat come back in the hands ever so slightly to deaden it. It won't push it all the way to the pitcher. And, you know, sometimes, you know, people just try to be too fine. You know, try to put that perfect angle on the bunt, this or that. All you have to do is deaden it.
That was a great shot of what it means to deaden the ball as we saw his hands come back. And of course, if you're bunting for a hit, that's a different story. You try to bunt it down the line, and if you miss it, it's just a strike. But in a sacrifice situation, deaden the ball, that's just what Westbrook did. Now, Ryan Theriot with a chance to drive in the Cardinals' second run.
And the outfielders swung around a little bit towards right. And even in the infield, where Ramirez, the shortstop, is closer to the second base bag, keep the runner close there. So they're expecting him to hit the ball the right side, and more than likely Johnson will pitch him that way.
There's a line drive down the right field line, and this ball is foul. Just slicing foul. Vic Carapazza, the first base umpire, was right on that. And as we said last inning, Al, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity you can with Josh Johnson. Perhaps the Cardinals could have scored more in that first. Thankful for a run, but would have liked more. Now you've got another runner in scoring position here in the second. And the Cardinals have been very good with runners in scoring position as well as with 2 outs.
Incredibly, the Cardinals, with a very productive offense, have scored more than 50% of their runs with 2 outs. That is outstanding.
Another chance here. Johnson set. The 1-2 is popped up to right. Stanton playing shallow. Makes the play. And the Cardinals are through here in the second. We're through 2. 1-0 St. Louis. Take the Cardinals with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cardinals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Jake Westbrook pumps in another strike. And we're underway here in the top of the third inning. 6 up, 6 down for Westbrook. A couple of strikeouts and 4 ground balls and a lot of first pitch strikes.
Jake got off to a very slow start early in the season, but you didn't really worry about it because his ball was just moving so much that it was moving through the strike zone and out. But you just knew in a matter of time that he'd find that release point and just get into a groove and just eat up innings with ground balls.
0-2. This is when a slider. Very simple delivery for Jake Westbrook.
Yeah, it's very simple. You know, maybe the hitters can see the release point, but there's nothing tricky about it. You know, it doesn't look like he really exhausts himself.
Backhanded by Descalzo. He's shown a strong arm, and we see it again. John Buck is retired. 22 out of 27 pitches have been in the strike zone.
Had a couple strikeouts, and then he's got 5 ground balls. Nice little take your time, that little crow hop to get your alignment, get your feet under control, your body, the upper body and the lower body all in sync. And then you love to see a guy that's got a good arm and he shows it. Show it off, impress people.
Especially like those strong arms on the left side. There's the 5 ground balls, 2 strikeouts, no flyouts. It's exactly how he would order it and draw it up.
Jake came in leading the National League with better than 76% ground balls.
John Buck bounced out to start this inning. Here's the pitch.
Look at that sinking action as he's got the 2-seam action, and then the ball just keeps on diving. So if they hit it, they pound it in the ground.
Tough play handled by Terrio on the hop, and he throws out Omar Infante. The Cardinals defense has been stellar here this afternoon.
Well, when you got a pitcher like Westbrook, all the infielders love it because they know they're going to be active. So they know he throws a pitch, they got to get ready. Might have been a little harder than he wanted, but a one hopper right there and equal to the task. The only thing is the outfielders get a little bored.
The watchful eye of Jose Oquendo. We have 2 of the best infield instructors in the game of baseball at the ballpark here tonight, in Jose Oquendo and Perry Hill, the first base coach for the Marlins. Joe Patini knows a little bit about infield play. Knows a lot about infield play. Major league player for the San Francisco Giants before coming to the Cardinal organization. A lot of respect for Joe Patini. Does not get very much credit for all the work that he does.
There's coaches today put in just an unbelievable amount of time. You know, an ex-player thinks, oh, I can just coast, I'll be a coach. Well, not today. It used to be a manager would assemble his coaching staff with, you know, whether it was his drinking buddies or his golf buddies. But today you're going to war, and you get guys that are ready to make a significant time commitment.
9 up, 9 down, 3 strikeouts for Westbrook. Welcome back to Busch Stadium on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Final game against the Marlins. Nice crowd here. Perfect weather, and so far so good for the Cardinals. An RBI base hit for Matt Holliday in the first inning gave the Cardinals the lead, 1-0. It out-hit the Marlins 4-0, and Jake Westbrook off to a very good start. It'll be Rasmus, Pujols, and Holliday for the Redbirds here in the third.
We would expect a pitcher's duel today, and one pitcher to be extremely dominant. It's just as nice that right now that pitcher wears the Cardinal uniform.
Keep riding that horse. Whatever you're doing, don't change a thing. Johnson breaking ball to Rasmus, strike one. The Cardinals have been first ball hitting a lot, and he starts off Rasmus with a breaking pitch.
And that's maybe he's figured out the Cardinals are looking first ball fastball, and
I didn't tell him.
Nope.
Did you?
Nope.
Rasmus singled, scored in the first. Good swing there, fouls it straight back right on that fastball.
Fastball there, and so now you're ready for it. Still, how tough is it, even when you know a fastball's coming, to be able to center it and then have the good fortune that it goes to where someone's not.
I just thought it was difficult to hit a fastball thrown by a guy as big as Johnson, too. There's something about his leverage that he has that makes it almost scary to be at the plate. Big, strong right-hander. Slider there takes care of Rasmus. That's his third strikeout. Now matching Westbrook.
But if you're really concentrating on the size of the pitcher, you're not watching the release point. You really have to have that tunnel vision and just zero in on the release point.
How about Albert on the Cinco de Mayo? Batting .300. And a good at-bat in the first inning for Albert.
You know, Rick, we would say, oh, he's having a bad day on Cinco de Mayo. He's only batting .300, a career .333, a .331 hitter.
Has not hit the Marlins well in his career. You just don't expect numbers like .285, and that's what his numbers are against the Marlins in his career. So they've pitched him well. They've had good pitching.
Yes, they've had good pitching.
2-0. Now 3-0 to Albert.
When you look at a club like the Pirates, where Albert owns them, and you know, a team has had 18 straight losing seasons, you would have to suspect that they're going to have inferior pitching.
Albert could be swinging here. Ball just misses the outside corner. Now Albert reaches base safely again in front of Matt Holliday. Holliday extended his hitting streak to 11 games with that base hit in the first inning. And Holliday, unlike Pujols, has hit the Marlins very well in his career. .361. Holliday's looking fastball on the first pitch here.
Always look fastball.
Look fastball. Adjust to the breaking ball.
No doubt about it. But the hitters will tell you, and Johnson was guilty of this when he first came up, that he was a two-pitch pitcher. He was a power guy. Fastball, slider. So everything was hard. Now he still has a very good fastball and a very good slider, but he's also learned that it's important to back off, and so he's been working all the more on a changeup.
Walked Albert, now 2-0 on Holliday. And of course, Al, we were both taught in the Cardinal system that if you look for the local and you get the express, you're not going to catch up to it.
Nope.
Go pitch here. Fouled off down the right field line by Holliday.
And one of the things that Mark McGwire found so frustrating last season, how much things had changed even since his retirement, that the reliance on video, that so much statistical analysis, what a pitcher's tendency on this count what they're going to throw. The guys were really handicapping themselves looking for a specific pitch.
Line drive to the first baseman Sanchez, and he steps on the bag, and that takes care of Albert as well. And the Marlins again don't know how many outs they are. They did this last night. Top of the fourth, top of the order for the Marlins. Chris Coghlan struck out to lead this game off. Batting against Jake Westbrook, the Cardinal right-hander, who's off to a great start. And another first pitch strike. That's now 10 in a row. It's not that easy, Al.
Keep on pumping them. But you'll find, even throwing first pitch strikes, how rare that they're put in play on a base hit. Most of the time, they're either taken or fouled off, like Coghlan just did.
Also appears to have good velocity today.
He's got good stuff with that power sinker. You know, you just
ground ball to left side, gobbled up by Descalzo. The good strong throw again. Out number one. Fox Sports Midwest and the Blues are teaming up for the Coleman St. Louis Race for the Cure on Saturday, June 11th. All team members are invited to enjoy special pre-race activities, which include a meet and greet with Louis, face painting, music, and more. For more information and to join the St. Louis Blues and Fox Sports Midwest team, go to stlouisblues.com.
39 pitches thrown by Westbrook, 30 strikes. There's another first pitch strike. So 31 out of 40.
This is one of those games where you take the video of what you're doing mechanically and you just put that in the archive and you used it to refer to it down the road when things aren't going so well. That one will reach the seats. 0-2 again, because he is just so mechanically sound right now. We talked about his simple mechanics, Al. He does kind of short arm the ball, which doesn't really seem to be a problem for him being a sinker ball pitcher.
A lot of times they want to have the long extension and kind of get out on top of it. Short arm a little bit deceptive.
The 0-2.
Change up there. When you have a dominant sinker, you know, you can almost throw that pitch exclusively, but then a lot of pitching coaches will say, but if you can get people off it with a changeup, you're better off.
You know, the short arm we're talking about, Al, he's not really reaching way back.
Yeah. Just nice and easy, just everything compact. And just really don't have that full extension back behind him.
But it sure does work.
But once again, here, Westbrook is listed at 6'3". I don't know if he's quite that tall, but he seems, his body is all in sync. It's just very fluid.
And another strikeout for Westbrook, his 4th. Pinpoint control of Jake Westbrook.
There's a little slider, starts on the back, ever so slightly breaking into the corner. You will find, like Hunter Wendelstedt back behind the plate. Right now he is in strike mode. So every borderline pitch is going to go Westbrook's way.
There's another one.
This looks like it's effortless, just nice and easy, fluid, just hit his spot.
12 straight first pitch strikes for Jake Westbrook, working on the first base side of the rubber, and another 0-2 count.
See, there's, he's got the umpire now mesmerized and said, this guy's got great control. Now Laird, eventually there are going to be times where he'll kind of get into a little bit of trouble. He might all of a sudden, set up a few inches outside, because you can convince the umpire here he missed the location, but it's perfect.
3 up, 3 down again for the Marlins. Bottom of the 4th. 1-0. Back inside Busch Stadium, 1-0 Cardinals. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Who were the 3 Cardinals chosen by the Marlins in the 1993 expansion draft? Chuck Carr, Chris Carpenter, and Scott Baker.
Chris Carpenter, the football punter
from Georgia.
From Georgia. Remember Chucky Carr, don't you?
I do. I played with the other 2 guys. Ground ball to the right side. Lance Berkman is retired, 3 unassisted. Last inning, Al, on the line drive to the first baseman Sanchez. Double play ended the inning. Not one Marlin came off the field. They all thought that was 2 outs. They did the exact same thing last night. I just think they like to play defense. They want to stay out there and give us 4 outs, I guess.
Well, that's fine, because as long as they're not at bat, they can't beat us.
They can't hurt us. That's right. Keep them out there. This game has been played much more crisply than what we've seen the last couple of days.
Oh, and it all starts with pitching.
Gerald Laird.
As we expected, a well-pitched game. I did expect it from both sides. Not that Westbrook I didn't think was capable, but I expected that he would have to pitch his tail off to pitch better than Johnson, and he's done so.
You wouldn't have been surprised thinking that Johnson would have retired the first 12 batters in this game.
Correct.
But he has not. That's his third walk already. Johnson, a lot like Chris Carpenter, has been an absolute winner in his career. Lifetime ERA under 3. 48-22 in his young career. 28-year-old right-hander. And the Cardinals have had a base runner in every inning, scoring in the first thanks to Matt Holliday, who singled behind Pujols and Rasmus.
3 hits and a walk, all bunched together in the first. Only 1 run.
As our director Tom Mees passes for the game here this afternoon. He has lots of friends. 1-0 to Nick Punto. And we do have a great crew here in the Cardinal organization, the Fox Sports Midwest, and I know that, like you and I, Al, they appreciate a well-played game. They like to be able to shoot a game that's played well, crisply.
Our crew is outstanding. There's no one that knows this ballpark, the angles, tendencies of Cardinal players better than our crew. And they bring a lot of special shots to you and things that you wouldn't see, just because they have that relationship with the players, and that they do know how many outs there are.
That's right. 2-1 to count to Nick Punto. He's singled in the second inning and was left stranded. The 2-1. There goes the runner Laird, and it's low, and Laird is hung up. Looked like a hit and run that Punto missed, and he's safe. And on to second base goes Gerald Laird.
But then they call him out of the base, but crew chief.
First base umpire Vic Carapazza called him safe, and the crew chief overrid him.
And I think you're right. It probably was a missed hit and run. Gerald Laird, you're not going to really send him, and there's what your constitutes running out of the baseline. And Jerry Lane demonstratively,
I think that's
he's out.
I think that's the right override, don't you?
I have no problem.
Pretty good pitch for the hit and run too. It was down and away. Punto could have handled that. He just missed the sign.
And Buck,
or perhaps Gerald Laird missed the sign, but Nick Punto staring down to Jose Oquendo. I'm guessing he's the one that may have missed it.
And I think that you're not afraid to run against Buck. He's only thrown out about 16% of runners, but it's Gerald Laird, and you want a little offer of protection,
especially on a hit and run, because you're really taught not to get the great jump necessarily. You just want to make sure you get a good enough jump. It's not really about stealing the base. It's just getting the head start and looking in and reacting. 3-2 is on the outside corner. Tough at bat for Punto, who's not happy with it. Missed the sign, struck out. He'll get another chance. Friday home game in Ford Plaza for live music and player appearances throughout the season. May 6th will feature Mr. Natural Cycle, John Mabry. For details and future player appearances, visit cardinals.com/promotions. Top of the 5th, 1-0 Cardinals.
I think you're talking about Jake Westbrook, who's just been painting the corners and the strike zone, and how you can get an umpire to, to expand his zone just because his mindset is just call strikes. I learned that back in the A-ball. When I played in the minor leagues, there was no coaches, no pitching coach, no coaches for a manager. You had a minor league manager.
That's
so
right.
If I started the game last night, tonight I would be the first base coach. Well, in A-ball, last night's home plate umpire would be the first base umpire. And I remember learning a very valuable lesson where an umpire came over to me and said, I really enjoy calling home plate when you're pitching because you throw so many strikes. And I thought about that.
From their point of view.
That's what he's telling me. So I remember when I got into a little jam and I had that umpire, I didn't throw the ball down the middle. I made it borderline pitches. And because he was used to me throwing strikes, he expanded the strike zone to my benefit.
2-1 pitch jams Gabby Sanchez, fouls it straight back, and Hunter Wendelstedt behind the plate tonight is certainly in that mode with Jake Westbrook.
And these umpires, they're
human. Yeah.
They know. They knew coming into this game. Oh, Josh Johnson, he's got a .88 ERA. Westbrook's got a sinker. So they're thinking it's going to be a lot of strikes.
One hopper bobbled by Punto, but he doesn't overreact and throws out Sanchez. It hasn't just been Jake Westbrook. We've seen some nice defensive plays by all of the infielders.
Well, the infielders are knowing that they're going to have the potential to have a ground ball on every pitch. So they're going to be on their toes. They're going to be geared up to play good D, and the Cardinals have done so in this ball game. Had some tough chances, and they've been right there.
There's one popped up into right field. We're going to get an outfielder to play a little bit. And a nice running catch by Lance Berkman. First out that has reached the outfield.
You see 5 strikeouts, 8 ground ball outs, and then finally a fly ball, the first one to the outfield. And Berkman wasn't sleeping. And I always say that in jest because all of a sudden they get bored out there.
He also looked like he was running pretty well on that.
Yeah, he tweaked a little leg muscle the other day and just a little precautionary, and you saw him check himself where he was as that part of the stands jettisons out towards the playing field. You got to pay attention and always know where you are.
Greg Dobbs, the third baseman, bats with 2 outs, nobody on for the Marlins. Top of the 5th inning. And finally, first pitch out of the strike zone for Westbrook.
Got a mulligan?
I don't think you get those at this level. 14 batters in a row. First pitch strikes. Broken here with Dobbs.
Now he's falling behind 2-0.
Did somebody up?
Take a little stroll, little breather, kind of regroup, come back and throw a strike.
And
could have been a call to strike there, and it
looks
wasn't
like
given to him.
He's going to have to retrain the umpire here, Al.
Right. Well, he's looking away, and this pitch is on the inner part of the plate. And very surprised that was not called a strike. That one has to be.
Cardinals are 7-8 at home, looking to even their record here at Busch Stadium, 17-14 overall. And there is the first hit of the afternoon for the Marlins. First batter he didn't get ahead of. First hit of the afternoon, and the Cardinal fans appreciate Jake Westbrook.
But he made sure he threw a strike. It's not a bad pitch, and just a little better piece of hitting. But don't put any free passes. If you throw a strike, they have to hit their way on. He does so. 2 outs, only a man at first base. Just get Buck.
Buck bounced out in the 3rd. And a base hit for Buck. Berkman gets it in quickly. Back-to-back hits here with 2 outs for the Marlins in the 5th inning. And we'll see Omar Infante. Infante,
not a bad 8th place hitter,
is a very good 8th place hitter. He's been struggling this year, but he had 3 hits in last night's game.
He came way of the trade and the Ugly deal, as he was an all-star last year, and he actually since 2007 ranks 3rd in the major leagues in batting with runners in scoring position, 341, trails only Mauer and a guy named Pujols.
He's hit 293, 305, and 321 the last 3 years, and he's batting 8th. First pitch strike. Westbrook back on track, perhaps. Cardinals lead 1-0. We knew this would be a pitcher's duel. First trouble of the day for Westbrook. We'll see if he can get out of it. Set. And in the dirt, blocked by Laird.
Dropped down a little bit, throws a little bit sidearm, a little different angle, but Gerald Laird did a nice job to block it.
How much fun is he having with this game, too, with the pinpoint control of Jake Westbrook, you know, catcher that isn't having to block a lot of pitches and isn't having to reach back across the zone because the pitch isn't where it's supposed to be. He can do a lot of things back there.
Sometimes we forget, you know, these catchers, the battle they can have is, you know, they're calling one game and the pitcher, it's almost like throwing another game. Is they're never hitting the target, never doing this, never doing that. But when you're back in the rocking chair like today, and wherever you put the target, the pitcher hits it. I mean, it's just a fun game between the two, just playing catch.
Infante's a good 2-strike hitter, 1-2 the count. 2 Marlins aboard. The pitch. Change up in the dirt. 2-2.
Big pitch right here. 2-2 pitch. This is not your typical 8th place hitter. And you really don't want to run the count full where you got a couple, you know, not a lot of speed on the base passes, but give them that free shot with 2 outs and base and full count.
2-2 hit on the ground up the middle, and it's going to be a base hit, and it's going to tie this game. Rasmus comes up throwing, and it's out. He is safe at the plate, but a much closer play as Greg Dobbs really blew a tire.
I mean,
going around third.
And give Kobe Rasmus some credit, which appeared to be no chance to even throw the ball as he comes up firing. Just execute. No advancement by the runners, and there you see he does get home plate. But with a clean catch, you know, he's out.
Can't believe how close that play was. Slow ground ball up the middle.
I mean, I was initially thinking, Kobe, don't even throw.
I'm glad he did.
But neither runner could advance. Just ball up the middle. Let's watch him go around third base there. It looks like he's running hard, but now look at him slow up, and it almost cost him.
So that's why it was so close.
And you can see a little conversation right there is in the mind of Greg Dobbs. There wasn't even going to be a play. Well, that's where that on deck batter has to. He has to help you. You can't really see, and you don't really want a guy turning around and looking back towards the field to see what's happening, because that slows down your forward progress. So you're reliant on the on deck hitter to tell you whether you need to slide, whether there's going to be a play. And he looked like he didn't get much help from his pitcher.
Yeah, and you can't really go with the excuse that he's a pitcher, because all players know that that's their duty. Whether you can hit or not, you can direct traffic a little bit.
You're absolutely right.
2-2 is a base hit to left field for Johnson. We may have another play at the plate, but Holiday comes up, holds on to it, just gets it back into third, and it's 2-1 Marlins. That one hurts. That's 4 straight hits with 2 outs. for the Fish.
"14 batters in a row retired, and now 4 straight base hits." And a guy like Josh Johnson, you've got to. That could be it. Gerald Laird right here kind of changed things around as things just come unravel with 4 straight singles with 2 outs.
The last 2 not hit very hard. A little ground ball up the middle by Infante, and Josh Johnson just going the other way. But sometimes it happens.
Part of the reason why they wouldn't have played, because it wouldn't hit that hard.
Marlins have come up with a couple of 2-out hits with runners in scoring position, and Chris Coghlan looking for another one. First pitch to him is a changeup, and he swings through it. He is 0 for 2. Coghlan, the Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, and he's had some crazy injuries since then, including getting a pie in the face and getting hurt defending himself doing that. Ground ball foul. He also had some shoulder issues.
Florida with their low payroll, and it seems like they always have several rookies. Always are going to be in contention for that Rookie of the Year. They have a very good farm system. Their scouts do a great job.
The 0-2 misses. They just keep retooling, don't they?
Yeah, whether it's homegrown or going out and doing a fire sale and searching another organization's prize prospects and then acquiring them in a trade and developing them, they do a good job.
On the outside corner, strike 3. So Westbrook rights the ship, but not before the Marlins pick up a couple of runs. Close play at the plate. They lead the Cardinals 2-1. What's on tap? Brought to you by Budweiser. The Brewers come to town. Game 1 tomorrow, 6:30. It's Randy Wolf and Jaime Garcia in Game 1, and the Brewers have been led by Ryan Braun, who was just named the National League Player of the Month.
Good numbers there, but I'm not sure they're any better than what Holiday and Berkman have been doing. But it's going to be interesting to see Milwaukee. They got Greinke back yesterday. He was not that good and lost his first ball game, but they're going to be right in the thick of things.
Before it's over, they certainly will. 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Brewers. First pitch, line to right field off the bat of Descalso. Back is Stanton, and he makes the play over his shoulder. And we've seen him do that a couple of times. Long drive off the bat of Daniel Descalso.
Very impressive young man, only 21 years of age, reaches up to the last second. Go back on a ball, it just takes off and reach up the last second, because if you reach up too soon, it slows down your forward progress.
Pretty smooth the way he moves.
Yes, he is. Very impressive when he has a bat in his hand.
Yeah, he is. Descalso gave it a ride. Jake Westbrook takes a fastball on the outside corner, 1-1. Josh Johnson, give him a couple of runs in the middle of the game. Could be trouble.
He's allowed 4 base hits, but only 1 since the first inning. He's walked 3. And we had the shot there in the first, and you wonder how many more you're going to get.
Little number on the right side is gobbled up by Johnson. 2 outs for the Redbirds. Saturday, June 25th, Busch Stadium hosts the 7th annual Purina Pooches in the Ballpark Day. Come downtown and enjoy a ball game with man's best friend beside you. A limited number of tickets are on sale now at cardinals.com/pooches. We saw that day in Atlanta. They're having their Purina Day there, and it's coming again to Busch Stadium. Good friends at Purina.
Tony's favorite day of the year.
Well, he would say his favorite day is any day the Cardinals win. I bet you that's what he would say. I'm starting to understand him a little bit. Don't you think that's what he would say? If you said, what's your favorite day of the year, Tony, what would he say?
No telling. The day my eye stops hurting.
Yeah, that could be too. Line drive to right field. Stanton handles it again. 3 up, 3 down for the Cardinals. Johnson is on a roll. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar, opening soon at Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels. The Pulse of St. Louis. By Jack in the Box, where right now you can get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled sandwich at participating restaurants, and by Kia. Top of the 6th inning. 2-1 Marlins. 2 runs in the 5th off of Jake Westbrook after he had mowed them down for 4 straight innings. Actually 4 2/3 of no-hit ball. And then he gave up 4 straight hits to Dobbs, Buck, Infante, and the pitcher Johnson, which resulted in 2 tallies for the Marlins. Now facing Bonifacio, Ramirez, and Sanchez here in the 6th. Bonifacio 0 for 2, strikeout and a ground out. And he's getting a little more extended playing time because Logan Morrison really one of the best hitters on this club early on, is actually out and on the disabled list. Another good young player we haven't even had a chance to see. He's just 23.
Bonifacio, can move around, play different positions. We saw last night's ball game where after a long run, made contact with the ball in fair territory and then dropped it, in foul territory.
And he strikes out for the second time this afternoon. Late movement. Jake Westbrook, not a good swing for Bonifacio.
Outside, way outside, gets him to chase a ball that's out of the strike zone. You got to know the strike zone, and he's got to hit down on the ball.
7 strikeouts now for Jake. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball to Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez also 0 for 2. Average now 194.
I was with the Atlanta Braves in the down the stretch, and a similar play.
Line drive, base hit up the middle on a hanger from Westbrook, past a diving Terrio.
Hanley's starting to come out of it. You see that high leg kick. You got to put it down before you can really pull the trigger. It's kind of their timing mechanism. It's become more in vogue. I guess in the 60s, the Sarahara O, the home run champion of the Japanese League, would do that. And not something that you would see a lot, decades ago, but you're seeing more of it now.
I seem to recall that's how Mel Ott hit. Old timer.
Yeah, Mel Ott was kind of like the one that you think about in the United States. Sarahara O kind of glamorized it.
Sanchez 0 for 2 here this afternoon, but he's had a good series. There goes Ramirez, the throw from Laird, and he is safe at second base.
Hard to believe as the throw beat him and Punto didn't drop it. Looks like he's limping like he got spiked. And he tags him, so why is he safe? Because Jerry Lane can't really see any of that standing in front of the bag. But it looked like he got that left or the right knee before he got to the bag.
I'm not sure his foot actually got to the bag. It actually went up against the foot of Punto.
Well, and that's why he was limping. So
he could have gone either way. I don't think you'd have too much of an argument either way. But a stolen base for Ramirez. That's his 6th.
Something he vowed to do more of is steal bases.
He just thought he'd be on more.
Yeah, and it's only 6 of 10.
1-2 pitch to Sanchez. On the ground is short. Terrio thinks about Ramirez, but throws across the diamond, takes care of the Marlins first baseman. Out number 2. Saturday, May 17th, 12,500 men, 12,500 women ages 16 and older will receive Blues Cardinal hats with a fun plaid print. Compliments of U.S. Cellular. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com. Mike Stanton steps in. He's 0 for 2, but very dangerous. We certainly saw that last night, didn't we? Fun battle with Eduardo Sanchez that didn't end up very fun for the Cardinals.
He's a very talented young man, still learning how to hit at this level, and you make good pitches and execution, you can get him out. But if you make a mistake, he can have an impressive swing on it.
0-1 is fouled back.
And
pretty good pitch to hit there.
And the home run ball that he hit last night in the 9th inning was an error in location. Molina was set up away. The ball was up and in. Bob Gibson never wanted to pitch inside in the strike zone late in the ball game. As great as he was, he didn't want to do that.
Dangerous.
Well, you know, in his mind was, you know, you make a mistake, and it's the short part of the field. You know, if he was going to go in, he was going to, you know, he was more willing to hit you than to leave it in the strike zone. And we see a lot of guys today that, you know, when you have to have like a 3-0, 3-1, a count where you have to throw a strike and you set up inside with that fastball, and they miss over the middle half of the plate, and you get burned more times than not.
Really, the Braves pitching staff made a living at thinking that way for years, with all those guys thinking that down and away fastball was the best pitch in the game. 2-2, struck him out. Westbrook strands Ramirez. Bottom of the 6th. Cardinals trail. Two to 1 Marlins, bottom of the 6th. Rasmus, Pujols, and Holiday to bat in the Cardinals 6th this day in history. Brought to you by Schnucks. Albert Pujols. Well, he's hit so many home runs, we just don't know which one this is. Oh, I guess it was the 16th home run of the season against the Marlins. And that homer ties the record for the most.
First 30 days?
Most in the first 30 days. Rasmus singled, scored the lone Cardinal run. See if he can get something going here in the 6th. Every game in this series, Al, has been tied through 6 innings. So it's been all about the bullpens in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. The Cardinals bullpen is different than it was last year. So is the Florida Marlins bullpen. Got good arms in both, and they're all trying to figure out their way.
The Cardinals got a lot of young guys down there that are really getting their feet wet. A lot of good things are happening, good and bad, but they're gaining a lot of valuable experience. The Cardinals have 14 losses and 9 by the bullpen.
4th walk of the afternoon for Josh Johnson. He's only thrown 69 pitches. And we talked about how the Cardinals are first ball hitting early on. It paid off in the 1st inning. Albert had a base hit, moving Rasmus to 3rd. Scored on the hit by Matt Holliday, and Albert was thrown out going to 3rd base, which could have been a key play in that inning and potentially in this game.
Albert's getting closer. He walked a couple times last night. Base hit the first time up and a walk in the 3rd.
I always get the sense with Albert too, it's whenever he's ready to be hot, it almost doesn't matter who's pitching.
No.
I mean, he's faced some pretty average pitchers that have carved him up early on. And here he is swinging the bat well against one of the National League's best. Johnson's thinking about a hit and run here.
The beauty of competing is at any given time you could have the best hitter in baseball, Albert, up there, and you could have a journeyman on the mound. But for that one little at bat, you know, it's mano a mano, and you know, maybe the journeyman is better than the best hitter in baseball that specific time. Josh Johnson, on the other hand, it's one of these pure matchups where people pay money. Arguably the best pitcher in the National League right now against the best hitter who's struggling.
Swings through a breaking pitch. 0-2 to Albert.
Throws so hard that you have to respect that, but then he got good tight slider, good location with it, good arm action, doesn't really telegraph it. And then he also can throw a much improved changeup on top of that.
Cardinals lead the league, Al, in hitting into double plays by a large margin.
And Albert has 10 that he's hit into. That's the most by any individual.
Oh, 2 to Pujols. Just misses.
There's a, you know, where he's seeing the ball better. Times earlier this year he would be way off balance, swinging at that pitch off the strike zone.
Cardinals have hit into 42 double plays. The next highest team, the Pirates, have hit into 32. Those teams right around 20. Some teams in the teens. Cardinals have hit into 42 of them.
Part of that is they've had a lot of base runners.
That's exactly right. And they have one here. Albert at the plate. 1-2 the count, and the pitch backs him off. 2-2.
We're on the other side, Rick, where a lot of times, you know, people will look and say, oh, this team has pulled off so many double plays, thinking, oh, they must have good middle infield. Well, no, they have a bad pitching staff.
Right.
That they've had so many base runners.
A lot of opportunities for double
opportunities.
Plays. Rasmus, decent lead at first, not going. The 2-2 is hit on the ground left side and in the hole past Ramirez. Another hit for Albert. Could this be the day that Albert gets back on track? 2 for 2 with a walk.
Still, it seems like he's a little bit out in front, reaching for it, but at least he's hitting this ball much harder. There's a little slider, stays up a little bit, but you see more of that solid foundation. A little more movement than you see other times, but it's just a fraction. And Albert is getting closer and closer.
And Matt Holliday's already there. Holliday at 415, leading the National League. A chance for some more damage here. Couple runners aboard, nobody out for the Cardinals in the 6th.
The other day, Holliday went 2 for 5 and lost points.
Bad day at the ballpark.
With runners in scoring position, a 500 average to go along with his 415 batting average. He just knew in spring training that things were going to come together. And really, after a slow start last season, he had an MVP type season.
Johnson set. The 1-0 is lined to right field, right at the right fielder Stanton, who has to back up a couple of steps, and that'll move Rasmus to third. That ball hit right on the nose by Matt Holliday. Now you've got to pick up this run, Al, some way, somehow. Lance Berkman, 28 RBIs, could be the man.
And exactly right. Productive out. Fortunately, Holliday hit that right on the nose, but Kobe got a good read, tagged up, went to third. More ways to score from third with only one out. And let's hope your recitation on double plays does not come into play right now.
I was just bringing it up. Not looking for one.
Whatever you say, I say, will not have a bearing on what he does.
Agreed. We saw that Holiday was batting .500 with runners in scoring position. Berkman, well, he's just at .462. That's all. 3 for 10 in his career against Josh Johnson with a home run. Cardinals could use one here. First pitch to Berkman. Swung on and hit deep to left field. Back goes Bonifacio to the track. And he makes the play up against the wall. Both runners tag. And the Cardinals have tied this game on the sacrifice fly RBI number 29 for Lance Berkman.
As you say, you have to get that run. Once he got over to third base, only one out, you have to get him in. And a pitch out away from him. This ball just keeps on drifting on Bonifacio. Kobe, is it easy for him to come tag up? It's either going to be out of here or it's going to be caught. He can trot on home, and Albert reads the same way, and he gets himself into scoring position.
Gerald Laird with an opportunity to tack on. He's 0 for 1 with a walk, was caught stealing on a missed hit and run. Pujols the runner at second. Slider, ball 1. Nice crowd here at Busch Stadium on a perfect Thursday afternoon for baseball. Cardinals and the Marlins. Brewers coming into town for the weekend, and we've got some great pitching matchups for you. Garcia and Wolf, Loesch and Gallardo, and McClellan and Chris Narbison, former Cardinal.
Finally a nice day.
Sure helps, doesn't it?
And the Cardinals really have had a rough start to the schedule weather-wise, and with so many midweek pairings. Just very few weekend series or pleasant weather to enjoy a game. And our next homestand, it's only 4 games during the middle of the week.
2-0 to Laird. Now 3-0. If Laird reaches, Nick Punto will have an opportunity. And I understand there are still plenty of good seats available for the Cubs series. So I know Cardinal fans always put that on the calendar and may think that those games are sold out, but there are some seats available for those games. Always something special when the Cubs come into town. They'll be here weekend series in early June, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the Cubs will come back in September.
And traditionally, all the Cardinal fans would go up for this series in Chicago, but starting to see a lot more of the Cub fans come down here and enjoy our city during that time.
We need to make sure we buy those seats before the Cub fans.
That's it.
3-1 to Gerald Laird. Pujols a runner at second. There goes Pujols, and foul tip, and I'm not sure.
Catcher's interference or what?
Looks like somehow
Albert back.
Somehow Buck was hit. Wonder if it was a no pitch even.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is time was called or something that we just really couldn't tell. Gets the backswing. But why is sending him Albert back unless they said it was a no pitch?
I don't understand how you could send him back to second, because the catcher really, I mean, I'm not saying it's his fault, but he kind of walked into that a bit, to that swing by Punto, and that's just his normal backswing, and the hitter has the opportunity to swing the bat without it being a problem.
Yeah, I mean, first you're thinking that
I'm not sure I understand that call.
I don't either. That the bat would hit his glove, but that was not the case. It was just the backswing.
But the catcher has to get out of the way of the batter, not the other way around, right?
Sure.
As long as he's in the box.
He didn't fall across the plate or anything.
Well, we might learn something today, Al. 3-2 pitch. Well, learn something there. Strikeout for Johnson, but the Cardinals have tied it in the 6th. 2-2. on Fox moves to Darlington and goes under the lights, where Denny Hamlin will try to defend his title and take home his first checkered flag of the year. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins Saturday with the pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 6 p.m. in high definition on Fox. Crowd having fun today. Cinco de Mayo at the ballpark. Little Macarena between innings.
Yeah, the Cardinals have not fared very well on Cinco de Mayo over the years. Cardinals have lost 16 of their last 18 games played on Cinco de Mayo. Let's change that one.
No bueno on Cinco de Mayo.
No bueno. Muy malo.
You play this game enough, you're around it enough, Al, we know just enough Spanish to be dangerous, don't we?
and we're thinking very quickly, making sure that this one is okay to say.
I had a chance to do a few interviews in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico in Spanish. And I told them, man, I don't really speak too much here. Greg Dobbs leading off. And of course, they ask a question. I have no idea what they're saying. And you do have to kind of regulate yourself, because you hear the words that the players use and you're not really sure if it's,
gee, I think they said
it's a cool thing to be saying or not. Want to be respectful. 2-2 to Greg Dobbs. Ground ball to the right side. Backhanded by Punto. And he's very smooth. And he throws out Greg Dobbs. Very good outing so far for Jake Westbrook back in this game. And he's done it with strikeouts and ground ball.
He's got 8 strikeouts. And his career high, I believe, is 9. So he's gone out there and done that. But his signature is the ground balls. And he's got plenty of those here this afternoon also.
I like the way he runs off the mound, too. Danny Cox used to do that.
I always wanted to, kind of jog out to the mound just to get my heart rate going. But I always felt like I wanted to walk off the mound, because I didn't want somebody, good or bad inning, to say, well, that I was afraid. I wanted to get off there as quick as possible.
That's precisely why I ran off the mound. I wanted to get out there as quickly as possible. Long drive to center field. Rasmus back to the track, to the wall, and he can't catch it. The ball is down as Rasmus had a chance to make that play up against the wall and just dropped it. It's going to be a double. That ball carried off the bat of John Buck, and he almost had his 4th home run of the season, but Rasmus probably should have caught this ball.
Well, he had to catch that ball. We saw with Berkman's ball to left field that the ball is carrying, but you just drift on back there. The only way you can play that better is to go right back to the wall, position yourself there to where you need to jump or not. But he just thought that ball was going to die much closer. Then he didn't really have the comfort level with the transition going from the grass to the warning track. Didn't really know where he was. And that ball was still about a foot or so from the flat up against the wall. And that ball has to be caught. You drift back, it's off the glove, and you just put your pitcher in a little trouble. So it's scored a base hit, but that's another play that should be made at this level.
1-0 is on the corner to Omar Infante, who's 1 for 2. And the Marlins are going to try to make that hurt. And Jake Westbrook's going to try to make it a moot point.
And Jake Westbrook sit there and say, hey, look, I appreciate your effort. I'm going to show you how good I am. I'm going to put you around it.
Ground ball up the middle and a base hit. Buck rounds third. Rasmus up and throwing and up the line, and the Marlins take the lead 3-2 as Omar Infante delivers.
It's 2 RBI singles for Infante, who, in my mind, when you see him in the 8th spot, you got guys on base, it's kind of scary. He's always been a pretty good hitter with runners in scoring position. Just a well-placed base hit. Nothing special about it at all, but wrong timing, wrong location.
And both times the Cardinals have been defending him in a different way, too. They've had Terrio in the hole twice against Infante, and the ball went up the middle.
Gerald Laird will go out. You've got Trevor Miller warming up. This will allow a little bit of time right here. Trevor will have enough time And Tony may make a pitching change right here with the pitcher, Josh Johnson, who more than likely was going to show bunt, but he's seen enough from Jake Westbrook.
La Russa goes to get Westbrook. Nice afternoon for him, but not good enough. Cardinals trail. Our Mid-America Chevy dealers call to the bullpen is the left-hander and the lone left-hander in the Cardinal bullpen, Trevor Miller.
Now, Trevor leads the staff in appearances with number 16. Did pick up a save, number 11 in his career. That was last Friday night. His first save since 2008, getting the final out in the 11th inning. 557 appearances since 2003. That leads all Major League lefties.
Really feel for Jake Westbrook, as he does not deserve this fate here in the 7th inning. A ball dropped in center field by Colby Rasmus, ruled a double, correctly ruled a double, but playable, and a ground ball up the middle, and now he's taken out of a game with a left-handed pitcher batting with a career batting average of .085. And if I'm Jake Westbrook, I'm a little disappointed. He's too much of a pro to complain about that, but let me complain about it for him, Al.
What you do is you complain. You know, you're disappointed to yourself and use it as motivation to be a little better the next time. But boy, there was parts of this ball game, particularly the first 14 batters he retired, he was sensational. Then he had that streak of 4 straight base runners and just some tough and bad luck since then.
8 strikeouts for Westbrook, giving way to Trevor Miller, bunting situation. And help me understand a reason why Trevor Miller comes in to pitch to a pitcher in a bunting situation.
I don't like it, but I would assume that Tony's going, okay, I'm giving him a little leeway. Going to bunt, get the second out here. Then I'm just going to bring him in for the left-hander. Maybe the double play.
That's why he did it. I see now. That's a good idea. Voting is now open for the 2011 All-Star Game. It'll be in Phoenix this year. Help send your favorite Cardinal players to this year's game by voting up to 25 times. I love those kind of elections. Vote early, vote often. Vote today at Cardinals.com.
Wes Helms will take over at third base, as they really don't have a true third baseman right now. You know, Wes and Dobbs are two of the best pinch hitters in all of baseball. Greg Dobbs getting a lot of the playing time, and then with the lead getting into the 7th inning, they go for the more sure-handed defender, and that's Wes Helms.
Bottom of the order for the Cardinals, Punto Descalzo, and a pinch hitter for Trevor Miller, you would think. So Miller won't be able to face the left-hander.
It's like Jason Mott starting to throw in the Cardinal bullpen.
The only way that Tony could have avoided that possibility is do a double switch, but it's awful difficult to double switch for some of the guys in the middle of the Cardinal lineup because you want them in this game. 2-0 to Punto. Johnson has had some streaks in this game where he's had problems with his control.
He's walked 4. He's only allowed 5 hits, and 3 of those came in the first inning.
Cardinals scored in the first and again in the 6th. Marlins with 2 in the 5th, 1 in the top of the 7th to take a 3-2 lead. Count now even on Punto.
Josh Johnson, just a big, strong kid that consistently going 7 innings. They're beginning to get their bullpen active.
All popped up, shallow center field. Coughlin makes the play.
As a pitcher, that's what you want to do to Punto and some of the Cardinal diminutive hitters, is you want to get them to hit the ball in the air because they can't hit it out.
Bottom of the order for the Marlins has been very productive here this afternoon. Dobbs with a single, run scored. John Buck a couple of hits, 2 runs scored. Infante 2 RBI base hits, and even Josh Johnson into the act. Mark Hamilton is in the on deck circle. He'll bat for Trevor Miller. And if you'd let Trevor hit, if Descalzo reaches, let him bunt.
I have no problem with that. Or what about if there are 2 outs and nobody on base? Do you let him hit for himself?
Hard to do that the 7th, isn't it?
Yes.
It's close though. I mean, it's one of those tweeners.
And Hamilton, who is at the on deck circle, 2 pinch hit, is kind of a, you know, he leaves the ball club with 3 pinch hit, but he is a big, strong kid that's got some pop.
.97 miles an hour in the 7th.
And kind of reaching back now, kind of possibly his last inning. He's going to make sure he finishes strong.
Don't tell me he just got loose.
Between innings, I saw an old teammate of mine, John Dasco, who met his son, whose son went to high school with Josh Johnson, Jinx High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And Daniel Descalzo strikes out for the 2nd time as he was overmatched in that at-bat. And here comes Mark Hamilton.
That makes me think of Ray Bingham back in the Jinx area.
Mark Hamilton does have some pop, as Al said, and wouldn't that be something? Put a little charge into one. We saw a pinch hit home run here yesterday by John Jay.
And Memphis in home runs with 18 a year ago.
1-1 pitch is high and away. You know, for a rookie, come to the big leagues, you're excited to be there, and you find yourself facing the game's best. That's quite a rush for a young player.
But, you know, you got an opportunity. Am I better than you?
Pretty good swing there.
It's a tough assignment to pinch hit off of anyone, let alone one of the best pitchers and pitching a strong game. And the only time you look bad is when you go up taking pitches. You've got to be aggressive as a pinch hitter.
And he took a pitch. Strike three. Another strikeout for Josh Johnson. Through 7. 3-2 Marlins. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jason Mott takes over for the Cardinals. Trevor Miller induced a bunt back to him, turned it into a double play. That's how the 7th inning ended. In relief of Jake Westbrook, who had an outstanding outing here this afternoon, but has given up the 3 Marlins runs. Cardinals trail 3-2. Jason Mott, one of those great arms in the Cardinal bullpen, Al, you were talking about.
And Jason's on a little roll. He's not allowed an earned run since April the 6th. That's covering 11 appearances. Seemed to have his velocity on his fastball back, and right now he's got to put 3 zeros up there, three outs, and get his team back on offense.
First pitch backs off Chris Coghlan. Coghlan at 270, 0 for 3 this afternoon. Mentioned that he was the Rookie of the Year in 2009. He had 321, 9 homers, 47 RBIs. The 2-0. 3-0.
Battle back. Already down by 1. You can ill afford to have a leadoff walk.
Leadoff walks hurt you. And it is a leadoff walk. Top of the 8th inning. Not only leadoff walks, but walks late in the game always seem to come back and haunt you.
That's what happened to Sanchez last night, 9th inning. Marked the leadoff man and then a 2-run home run. John Jay hit his 2nd pinch hit home run to narrow it to 1, but Cardinals fell short.
Bonifacio not bunting, 1-0.
5 straight balls around the plate, but not in the strike zone yet.
Coughlin, the runner at first. There's a strike. And you wonder about a hit and run in a situation like this with a pitcher that's not throwing strikes. That can be a dangerous call because he may be so far out of the zone that Bonifacio can't get a bat on.
Sure, that is something a lot of fans don't consider, but you know, if you got a pitcher that is all around the plate, it's kind of hard to protect or to get a good swing on a ball.
Descalzo in on the grass at third.
Bonifacio has great speed, and he wants to chop down on a ball. Coughlin over at third is 2 steals in 5 attempts.
Fouled off at the plate. That looked like that might have gotten Gerald Laird. There's the tip and looked like it got his left shoulder. Well, we've seen John Buck get hit in the head with a bat, and we've seen Laird get hit in the shoulder with the ball. So you want to be a catcher.
Tools of ignorance.
Can't live without him, though. Another throw to first. Cardinals, we should remind everyone, 14-2 in games where they've not made an error. And they have not made an error today, although the play that went to Rasmus where he dropped it up against the wall could have been called an error.
A lot of official scores today are very, very generous, and it seems like they always give the batter the benefit of the doubt, but that is a play that has to be made if you're going to win.
The 2-2 not going. Fouled straight back. Bonifacio. Bonifacio's already struck out twice here this afternoon. Jake Westbrook had 8 of them. And no walks. Really an outstanding outing for him. The earned runs are, well, they're there, 3 of them. But he pitched much better than that. Here goes the runner, hit on the ground to the right side. Albert's going to have to handle it. Tough play. Mott covering, and he's out.
And you have no time to make that banana run along the base path with Bonifacio. You've got to go straight to the bag. Albert gets to that ball, bare hands it, flips it over. That's tough. You're running parallel. You're kind of looking down for the bag. You've got to get that ball quick enough, and you've got a speedy runner just coming right down the line with you. Very nice play at both ends by Pujols and Mott.
A lot happening on that play. The result, Coughlin goes to second. 1 out here in the 8th inning for Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez singled and stole second in the 6th inning. 12 RBIs on the season for him. Mott would like to keep this a 1-run game. Strike 1. Off-speed pitch. Little wrinkle there, Al. To start off Hanley Ramirez.
Well, he hadn't been exactly throwing a lot of strikes with the fastball, and you don't want a hitter just to sit on it. So now that if you can throw a secondary pitch for a strike, then you got that guy guessing a little bit. Reach back with the fastball, and he's throwing 93 consistently, and that's a big difference from 96 to 98.
Agreed.
And I'm starting to see more movement in his fastball. But the biggest thing is just, come to meeting of the minds between Mott and Dave Duncan, and said, I appreciate you working on all those secondary pitches, but we got to get outs now. Go and throw it. And there you see the 98. It's upstairs.
And the experimenting, unfortunately, for Jason Mott in his career with the Cardinals, some of it has been done at the big league level because he didn't start pitching until late.
I was a converted catcher.
Usually that experiment thing, you talk about an A ball, and then you figure out who you are, and you start to progress.
And when you're a power pitcher like Jason, you're slow, in getting the velocity.
There goes
paying
Coughlin.
attention.
And he is out. Strike him out, throw him out. He made the third out at third base. You're not supposed to do that, Al. Bottom of the 8th. Cardinals need a run. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime. The just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope. With Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. That's the City Museum. Al, I assume you've been on that before?
No, I have not.
I have, and it's scary. But it's fun. City Museum's wonderful. And it's wonderful to be at the ballpark, too, Al. Very well-played game here this afternoon. 3-2 Marlins. Top of the order for the Cardinals here, bottom of the 8th inning. Terrio Rasmus and Albert Pujols.
99 pitches for Josh.
Maybe this will be his last inning.
Activity in their bullpen again, but they're going to ride the big man.
Ground ball to second. Terrio is retired. And one of the reasons why we do not see Greg Dobbs in this game wasn't only the defensive replacement of Wes Helms, but we're told he's had an ankle sprain.
I wonder if he did that, trying to play at the plate, trying to reach around and
trying to be a contortionist.
It is so important to always assume there's going to be a play, and then your body has a way of protecting it. When you assume that there's not going to be a play in the last second, you try to do something unorthodox to reach around or to get around a tag, then you have a chance to injure yourself.
Colby Rasmus singled and scored, walked and scored. Both Cardinal runs. Curveball misses, 2-1 to the Cardinals center fielder. And you'd like to see Rasmus on base in front of Albert and Holiday. Trying to get to Josh Johnson. That could be their last chance. And it's a base hit to right field. Rasmus on board again. He's been on base twice, scored twice. Albert Pujols 2 for 2 with a walk. Well hit.
Washington in the middle of the plate, just turns on it, pulls it through the hole on the right side. Well struck. Past Infante, and here's your ball game right here. You have the opportunity now. Tying run on base. Albert and Holiday coming up.
It's the way the game was designed, right? Late in the game, one of the best pitchers, two of the best hitters. 3-2 game. Here we go. Johnson set. First pitch to Albert. Low ball one. Like a pretty good pitch there.
Lefty Dunn is warming up for Berkman. Turn him around to the right side, but right now it's Josh Johnson's game.
Rasmus the runner at first. The pitch. Fouled straight back. 1-1. Marlins also have a very good closer in Leo Nunez, who is leading the National League in saves with 11.
He is available today. He gave up the home run to John Jay and picked up a save last night and 2 in this series.
The 1-1 to Albert. Johnson eyes Rasmus. The pitch on the outside corner. Albert doesn't like it.
A little bit down and away, or was it just a perfect pitcher's pitch?
There's that low strike we've seen this year, which I think is a good pitch to be calling a strike.
Well, that was exactly where he wanted to throw it.
Can he repeat it?
It's only strike 2.
Two and 2 now to Albert, who looks to be getting closer and closer. Al, you've said it a couple of times. He just seems to be almost there. Batting average now at 246. Power numbers still pretty good. 7 homers, 19 RBIs.
Be a lot better with 8 and 21.
Yes, he would.
When Albert is hitting his normal 331, you would find the crowd on their feet.
If he hits one out, they'll get on their feet.
They'll get on their feet.
The 2-2. And it's a base hit to left for Albert. He's 3 for 3.
Well placed through the left side and on through. So Albert, 3 hits tonight, on base a 4th time with a walk. It's getting closer. Albert is over 250 now. And Cardinals still hitting over 400.
And the Cardinals had Matt Holliday, right guy in the right situation last night in the 9th inning, and he bounced into a 6-4-3 double play against the closer Leo Nunez, and now finds himself in another important situation 1 day later against the best pitcher for the Marlins, Josh Johnson. 2 on in the 8th. Holliday's ready, so is Johnson. The pitch.
Holiday just a shade under, what, 500 with runners in scoring position. So he's due.
Bonifacio way off the line in left field. He's been playing there all series long. Awkward swing. Tried to hold up. 1-1. Wasn't fully committed to that swing. Was looking for a fastball. Thought it was a fastball. Had a little wrinkle to it. 1-1 to Holliday.
Little slider, and he's geared thinking fastball, and you know, he's so strong. You start that swing, it's almost impossible to hold up, and he goes on through.
National League Pitcher of the Month, Josh Johnson. 3-0, 0.88 ERA coming into this game. Trying to win his 4th of the season. He's going to have to get by Holliday. Fakes to second. Rasmus dives back.
Well, the National League Pitcher of the Month is facing the Major League's best hitter.
One and one to Holiday. One out in the Cardinal 8. Here's a bloop to right field, and it's down. It's going to be a base hit. Rasmus rounds third. There's going to be a play at the plate, and he is safe as Stanton airmails the catcher. 3-3. RBI base hit for Matt Holliday. His 23rd RBI of the season.
It wasn't pretty, but just once again, the superior strength of Matt Holliday to muscle a ball out. Here's just a jam shot, but he muscles it over the infield. There's the airmail. Good thing that Johnson was backing up the play. So he jams it, but he muscles it over here. Kobe just comes around, challenging Stanton. And the Cardinals have tied this ball game and threatened. And it looks like they finally knocked out Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson cannot be the winner, could be the loser. Jake Westbrook off the hook. Matt Holliday, the hero of the moment. 3-3. Johnson, 3-3 is the score. The Cardinals have now out-hit the Marlins 8-7. And the left-hander, Mike Dunn, takes over for Edwin Rodriguez.
Picked up his second win earlier in this series against the Cardinals. Made his Major League debut with the Yankees September 4th, 2009 at Toronto. And he's allowed 3 hits, walked 7, struck out 14, while his average against is just .083. So a tough lefty here. They'll turn Berkman around, who's swinging the bat much better from the right side than we've seen the last couple of years.
And certainly done that the last few weeks, and we'll see if he can pick up a big hit here in the Cardinal 8th inning. Jason Mott had a scoreless top of the 8th inning. That inning ending on a strike him out, throw him out, as Chris Coughlin was attempting to steal third. Close play there, might have been safe. So Mott gets through the 8th. Now the Cardinals answer in the bottom of the 8th to tie the score. Outfield not as deep against a right-handed hitting Berkman. Runners at first and second for the Cardinals. Dunn is set, and this ball is hit deep to left field. Back goes Bonifacio to the wall. It's gone! Home run, Berkman! And the Cardinals take the lead. Home run number 10 for the Big Puma. standing now.
Yes, they are. Berkman 4 RBIs. His second right-hand home run, and he doubled his RBIs from the right side with one swing of the bat. Berkman, who has just had a phenomenal April, doing the same in May. That middle of the order is pretty deadly.
Laird pops it up. Coughlin makes the play, out number 2 for the Cardinals here in the 8th inning. And this inning certainly turned around for Josh Johnson. They were trying to push Johnson to get to Nunez. You said, Al, he's been swinging pretty well right-handed.
Much better than what we've seen last. That's his second home run. And now he's got 6 RBIs right-handed, 26 left-handed, and 8 home runs left-handed. Franklin and Sanchez were warming up, but after the 3-run home run and the Cardinals take the lead, Franklin sits down and Sanchez is warming.
Nick Punto 1 for 3, and the crowd just kind of getting their breath a little bit and very excited about what happened there. Tony La Russa's club trying to even this series at 2. Very difficult to come back against a pitcher like Josh Johnson.
Psychologically, you know, you just not too defeated, but you know you have to rise to the occasion and the challenge, and of course give a lot of credit to Jake Westbrook. He pitched right there with him. Had some bad luck that he ended up coming out trailing, but the offense just keeps on plugging away.
Two-out walk to Punto. We like that home run so much, we think we should show it to you again. I hope you enjoyed that.
I did.
Me too. I don't think Mike Dunn enjoyed it.
Or Josh Johnson.
They had the best view in the house. (6-3) Cardinals. Daniel Descalzo. Strike 1 to him. He's 0 for 3. Jake Westbrook was the Cardinals starter, 6 1/3 innings. He went 4 2/3 innings before he gave up his first hit. 4 1/3 innings before a ball even got to the outfield. 8 strikeouts, no walks. Check swing to the right side. Descalzo is retired. On to the 9th. Lance Berkman has done it again. 6-3 Cardinals. Going to the 9th.
Cards by 3 thanks to Lance Berkman. We go to the 9th in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton will be at Lumiere Place, the new Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. The Cards had a game plan against Josh Johnson. They'll break it down. Jake Westbrook getting ahead, and Tony TV as well. That and more coming up after the game. Lance Berkman with a big shot today as we go back to the booth. And Rick and Al, guys.
Thanks, Jim. And what a 8th inning it was for the Cardinals. Lance Berkman talking it over with Chris Carpenter. Big home run in the 8th inning. And the new Cardinal pitcher, our closer du jour, is Eduardo Sanchez.
Well, he's 2 for 2 in save opportunities. He had his first struggles last night when he suffered the loss, allowing a 2-run home run in the 9th inning. And part of the problem started with a leadoff walk. So bear down, get the first man. Not always easy, but Sanchez is 0 for 3 today.
And our Sanchez is ready and misses high and in. And one thing he has shown, Al, is some durability. Tony is not afraid to use him often.
Seems like a lot of these Latin players just have the rubber arms, very conducive to pitching out of the bullpen because resiliency, they can bounce back.
Part of the training regimen in most Latin American countries is to throw all year long.
Play catch, do this, do that.
2-0. And you mentioned how the walk hurt. Now 3-0 to Gabby Sanchez.
He is fun to watch. He's got electric stuff, but he is a work in progress. And how does he bounce back from last night?
Another leadoff walk here in the 9th inning, making the fans here a bit uneasy. Cardinals took the lead in the 8th. Lance Berkman, 3-run home run. And credit Rasmus, Pujols, Holiday for getting on base in front of him. 6-3 Cardinals.
As a offensive ball club, you want to score as many innings as you possibly can. Usually, if you score in 3, you've got a good chance to win. 4 and above, you're going to win. Cardinals have scored in 3. And they've shown that ability that, you know, they don't quit. They keep on putting pressure. And right now, they'd like to put a little defense behind Sanchez, but he's not throwing strikes.
And Tony and Dave Duncan had a quick chat there. It looked like they saw something already which made them want to get some action in the bullpen, and we see that now.
Well, I think the other thing is they just said, Albert, come over here and interpret, as Boggs is getting ready in a hurry. Just slow things down. Rick, I don't know about you, but I always want to see how a young player handles adversity.
Right.
Because it's really easy to be special when everything's going good. But the first time you fail, and you will at this level, can you put it aside and bounce back and do the job the next day?
And adjust physically and mentally and handle that adversity. And he's got some adversity right now. 2-0 is the count to Mike Stanton. Save situation for Eduardo Sanchez. But Mitchell Boggs getting ready in a hurry in the Cardinal bullpen. And there's a strike at 91.
You don't really want to see him have to back off so far. You know, if you're averaging 95 with your fastball and then you have to go to 91 to throw a strike, that's not good.
The 2-1 fouled off, back in the count. 89-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. The dangerous Mike Stanton. Stanton homered in the 9th. The game winner. His 5th of the season last night. He has tremendous power.
He's
he is just a youngster.
Yeah, he's going to be a fun player to watch. He develop and how he carries himself.
The 2-2. Popped up foul. Slider on the inside half, the heart of the order. Gabby Sanchez, Mike Stanton together. 448, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. And the rest of the Marlins, no homers, 223.
And they're both 0 for 6 today. So let's keep that trend.
Been the bottom of the lineup where the damage has come from, and that's where we're headed. The 2-2 pitch to Stanton. Hit on the ground to the right side. 4, 6, 3. Big double play here in the 9th inning. Eduardo Sanchez gets back in the count, handles the adversity, Al, very well.
Still got the 27th out, but this is how you do handle it well. Get your ground ball, come back there. Now just don't try and do it. You know, you've got to throw a pitch. Can't do it just yet, so just still stay under control. Helms.
Wes Helms took over for Greg Dobbs. Final chance for the Marlins. Sanchez set. The crowd into it. Ball 1. Been a nice crowd today.
Very nice crowd. They've been entertained. They've seen a good ball club and ball game. Some timely hitting, some great pitching. Helms old school, look like taking a strike.
Cardinals hoping to climb to 8-8 at home. Hoping for 18-14 on the season. Hoping for a win for Jason Mock. Hoping for a save for Eduardo Sanchez, and they're 1 pitch away. Lance Berkman. How many thrills has he given us already in a Cardinal uniform?
A 1-year contract. Took the gamble to come here, resurrect his career, and he has done so.
1-2. Sanchez is set. The 2-2. Just misses. Sanchez again doesn't like the call.
Over but low. And runs the count full.
Or maybe not low.
No walks.
The 3-2. He walked it.
Got a 3-run lead. Now you can't just put people on there. They're trying to get base runners.
38,509 Cardinal fans. Sigh. Take a big breath. And they start to get amped up for this at bat. Albert playing behind the runner, Helms. John Buck at the plate. Ground ball left side. Descalzo has it across the diamond. Cardinals win. 6-3 Cardinals. Lance Berkman homers in the 8th inning. Cardinals even the series. Al, another magical day at Busch Stadium.
Well, it's very special because They had already lost 2 of the first 3. They were matched up against the best pitcher in the National League. They had their work cut out for them. They came out, they did the job. Westbrook was a real hero in this game. A lot of offense, and what a key at bat by Lance Berkman, the game-winning 3-run home run.
And Lance Berkman is our player of the game. This home run ends up being the game winner. He's our Budweiser player of the game. Cardinals win postgame. Coming up next.